Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you 8 page-turner book recommendations. Page-turners don't necessarily mean that all these books are fast-paced in any way. I'm considering them and recommending them as page-turners mainly because you'll want to know what is going to happen next, even though there are many things that are revealed to you and the story is also moving in a slow pace. That necessarily doesn't mean that all these books are slow-paced in any way. Some of them are super fast-paced also. I also have different genres to recommend from like thriller, fantasy, romance, magical realism and so on. So without any further ado, let's get into the books right away. The first book that I want to recommend you guys is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which is a dark academia novel. Here we follow a group of 6 characters who are in their early 20s and they join this very prestigious and elite college in New England. And the basic plot of the book is that one of these 6 students is killed by the other 5, and who is killed and who has killed them is revealed in the first few pages of the book itself, literally in the first 5 pages of the book, and the rest of the 600 pages of the book is just you trying to get to know why they killed that person and how they killed them. There are various other things which are also happening inside this book which will just make you keep flipping the pages continuously. It is a slow paced book and it will take a lot of time for you to read, but trust me, every time you put down this book to take a break and do some other stuff, it will just call on to you and make you want to read it even more and more. I read this book for over a period of 10 days and I should say every time I kept it aside and went to do any other work, my thoughts were mostly concentrated on what is going to happen next in this book, because everything is revealed for us in the beginning itself and it's not like a mystery of who did the murder and who died. You're just going to find out why they killed that person and how they killed them. And the other best thing about this book is that the writing of the author is excellent. It is so aesthetically pleasing in its, and I'm sure if you read this book you will definitely enjoy each and every small bit of it. The author has taken over 8 years to write the single book and I can easily say that it is completely worth it. It was published more than 25 years back, but it is very contemporary in its tone, so just go forward and try it. I'm sure you will completely enjoy it and it will also make you flip the pages continuously. The next one is a lighter toned romance book and it is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. This is also a romance book which is over 500 pages long, but trust me, you'll be just flipping the pages continuously and finishing this book in maximum 1 or 2 days because something keeps on happening from the beginning to the end of the book. Here we basically follow our main character, Catalina, who is in her late 20s and her family is living in Spain. She is working in New York. The thing that Catalina is stuck with right now is that she has told her family that she is dating this man in New York and she has to take that man to her sister's wedding in Spain for a week. So clearly she has no one that she's dating right now and she has to find this man to go out with her for 1 week alone to Spain and spend the time with her family. Because of some things that happen, Aaron, who's kind of an arch enemy for Catalina, offers to be her date for the 1 week in Spain and he gets this return favor from her even before going there. She has to go on with a date with him for this event and she goes on with him just for that single night alone, and after that they go to Spain and the second half of the book is entirely situated in Spain itself and it is super funny and hilarious to read completely. Even though it's basically just a romance book that just moves very fast and is also very steamy and sexy at multiple instances, there are also some other social issues that the author addresses here which was really good. So if you're looking forward to a very comfortable and spicy romance, just go forward and read this. The next one is a psychological thriller book and it is Playing Nice by J.P. Delaney. Here we follow the story of 2 families whose babies were swapped when they were born, and both of these couples have been bringing up the other's child for the past 2.5 years, and because of some things that happen, one of the 2 couples gets to know what has happened and they bring it to the attention of the other couple also. How they are going to deal with this and whether they'll swap the babies again and bring them up as their biological parents or just bring up the child that they have brought up for the first 2.5 years of the child life is the actual plot of this book. It is super messed up in many ways, but trust me, if you read this book you'll not be able to put it down at all because each and every chapter has kind of an implanted thing that is required for the second half of the book, and the way in which the author has planted it in the first half and excavates it out in the second half and shows us the reason why he said it there is super brilliant. It is definitely a surprising read for me from 2022 itself and I completely enjoyed reading it. I'm also not giving away a lot about this book in the beginning itself because if you go in with just the information that I've given you, I'm sure you'll have a great ride. So just go forward and try this. Next we have a thriller short story collection and it is Flight or Fright, edited by Stephen King and Vincent, which is a collection of 17 short stories written by 17 different authors, and all of them happen on some flight while it is on board in the air, and it is super interesting and nail biting at multiple instances. Even the first 2 to 3 short stories of the book itself made me so frightened because it was written in such a great way. There are 17 stories from 17 different authors, and some of the authors who have contributed for this collection are Stephen King himself, Arthur Conan Doyle, Richard Matheson and Roald Dahl. I've read works by these authors separately as full-length novels, but I've not read any short stories by them except Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in the Sherlock Holmes series. One thing which I want to tell you guys is that the authors have arranged the stories in a proper way so that we have a thriller flight story from each and every part of a human evolution when it comes to flight. Since it's a collection of short stories also, each and every story just finishes so quickly and you just want to move on to the next story and see how it is going to go. So just try giving this a read. The next one is a literary fiction book, and it is The Book of Essie by Meghan, McClean, Weir. Here we follow a main character, Esther, who's 16 years old and she has become pregnant right now. It is a very huge deal because Esther is part of this family whose life is televised and broadcasted as a show like the Kardashians. And what are the things that go on in Essie's life because of her pregnancy, and the reason behind her pregnancy is the actual plot of this book. It is definitely a book that has a satisfying ending towards the climax, and the way in which the author reveals certain stuff in the second half of the book is just brilliant if you ask me. The TV show aspect of the book and the way in which many things are orchestrated properly by the family in order to just make the show look good is done in a proper way by the author, and it is also not overdone. I enjoyed reading this one, and I think many more people need to read it also because it displays a lot of hidden things in the society properly to us, and I'm sure that you'll want to continue reading this book just in order to know what is going to happen. The next one is a magical realism book, and it is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This is a collection of 4 stories that happen inside this particular cafe in Japan, and the best thing about this cafe is that you can travel in time. Now this book basically has 4 stories that are happening inside the cafe, and all 4 of them are non-related to one another. You can read all the 4 stories in any order, but the way in which all 4 of them are connected together and how they make sense as a whole is really nice. More than anything, I can say that this book is emotionally driven because we follow 4 different characters and 4 different significant things that happened in their lives. Since it's a translated work from Japanese, it is also very aesthetically pleasing to read. It'll be perfect for this time of the year, so just go forward and try it. I'm sure you will love all the 4 stories inside this book. The next one is another romance book, and it is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. Here we follow our 2 main characters, Fallon and Ben, who meet when they are 18 on the 9th of November, and there are many things that happen between them, and they just go on this impromptu date also. After that particular day is over, both of them decide to meet each other for the next 5 years on November 9th itself. So the basic story of the book happens on these 5 days alone and not much more. Since each and every year has this single day alone concentrated on, the story also moves very quickly. It is definitely a darker tone when it comes to romance, and the way in which the author's depiction of these characters is done is excellent if you ask me. But just keep in mind that it is not a fluffy, easy to read romance. It is definitely very dark in its tone, but towards the end it is super satisfying. I like reading it very much, and I think I finished reading it in one day also, so that's why I want to recommend it to you guys. The last one that I want to recommend today is a young adult fantasy series, and it is the EMBER Quartet by Sabaa Tahir. Here we follow our main character Laya, who's a part of this faction of people called the Scholars who live in this empire, and the empire is inflicting a lot of rules on the scholars, and basically because of some rebellions that take place, scholars are just taken by the empire and they are either executed or imprisoned and used as slaves. And Laya, after having lost her parents and having her brother imprisoned by the empire, escapes from the place where she lives in and tries to get inside the city to find this rebellious group of people and try to join with them in order to bring down the empire. It is very dark, it is very violent and gory at instances, but the way in which the author just moves it and takes us fast towards the climax is just awesome. You feel everything that you have to feel while you are reading the series. At the same time, you just get to the end in no time at all. So just go forward and try reading the EMBER Quartet. I'm sure you will completely love it. So yes guys, those are all the 8 page turner books which I wanted to recommend to you today. And if you do have any page turner book recommendations, don't forget to leave them in the comments so that I as well as other people can find new books from them. And if you did find this video useful or enjoyable in some way or the other, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. And if you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.